Yes, just as you saw in the video thumbnail and title, I used Gemini to create this landing page over here. I use it as my assistant or as my senior UI UX assistant to improve my already designed boring landing page in Figma. And when I gave it my draft, it gave me feedback on the things that I could change and make it look better. And based on those changes that it suggested, I asked it to actually create the design that it was recommending. And this is the result that I got out of Gemini. So if you want to see how to use Gemini to improve your designs as a designer or basically as a creative, then stick around in this video. To get started, let's come here to our Figma file. I created this draft design for my new homepage or my planned new homepage, and I don't really like how it looks like. A lot of stuff here is messed up. Things have to be corrected. I don't like how, everything turned out. It is too boxy, too wordy at the same time, and some ugly shapes right over here that I don't like myself. So I'm like, okay, now that I have Gemini 3 Pro, can I use it as my senior UI UX assistant to help me improve this design? And I was like, why not? So what I've done is to export these two pages over here as PDFs, and I'm going to ask Gemini to read and see, interpret them, and then give me feedback on how I can improve them. And then later in the video, we shall use the canvas feature that comes in Gemini to try to develop the suggestions that Gemini has given us. Back here in our browser, we have the Gemini homepage, which is the screen over here. What I'm going to do right now is to add my files. So I'm going to say add a file or upload a file. This is my PDF file that has the two pages that I exported from Figma, and there right we go. And now I need to add a prompt that is going to task Gemini to read and analyze what is inside, and then it gives me good feedback. And that should be a detailed prompt, because Gemini is a model that understands context. So you have to try to be as descriptive as possible in your prompt. So I came here to ChatGPT and I told it to give me a prompt to use if I want Gemini to review my Figma draft and give me feedback to look and work better. And here it wrote me this draft over here where it says, I'm sharing a screenshot of my Figma draft. Please review it as a senior UI UX designer. Give me a clear, practical feedback on how to improve the visual hierarchy, spacing, alignment, colors, typography, consistency, and user flow. And then it said once again, I like this, highlight any design issues, confusing elements, or areas that feel unbalanced. And then also suggests specific changes I should make, like increasing the padding, spacing, adjust font sizes, remove clutter, and improve contrast. After that, review and propose 2 to 3 alternative layout ideas that I could use to make the design more modern, clean, and conversion focused. And then here, finally, summarize your recommendations into step-by-step list I can apply inside Figma. Okay, now I just had to copy this and come here to my Gemini 3 Pro in this case, and paste. I'm changing this to, I'm sharing a PDF of my Figma file or Figma draft. And yeah, so I don't have to change anything else. And here I'm choosing the thinking model. So this takes more time to analyze and understand, and then it gives you feedback. This comes in Gemini 3 Pro. All right, so I'm going to say, let's go. All right, so it looks like I'm getting some feedback from Gemini. And here it says, here is a professional UI UX review of your Figma draft, analyzed as a senior designerhood. But before we go into reading this, I just want to give you a small tip. I set my Gemini to always act as my assistant expert or expert assistant and provide me answers in a structured and professional format. And then I told it always to push its reasoning to 100% capacity while keeping the answer clear and professional. So if you see that my results are, or if you use the same prompt like the one I used and your results are different from mine, this could be the reason. Anyway, now back into our page and session. So here it says in the executive summary, it says, content is strong, authoritative, and builds trust effectively. particularly with the transparent pricing and personal backstory. However, the visual hierarchy is currently flat, and the wall of text in the about and process sections will lead to high cognitive load. The design needs to shift from a document feel to a digital experience by using better grouping, negative space, and visual variation. Now, I like this feedback. So here it goes back and tells me from step by step visual hierarchy and typography, spacing and alignment, and then it tells me user flow and conversion. Here it goes in and tells me specific changes for Figma, what I have to do and where. I hope I can open this side by side so you guys can see it. And here it says, my name is Hamza, web designer and educator, seem to compete. The video background adds movement, but if the text lacks sufficient contrast or weight, it will get lost. So this is what it is talking about. And here it says the fix is web designer and educator, your primary H1, largest font. Make hi, my name is Hamza, a smaller eyebrow, and ensure the book appointment call to action is high contrast against the video. So I think it is trying to... Where is the book appointment? This is the call to action is way down here. So it is trying to tell me to kind of split this and then try to bring up the CTA up right here in this hero section. I think that's what it's trying to mention or to mean. And here it says the typography scale issue. The text blocks in the about section and why client trust me section appear to have similar visual weight. Fix, establish a strict type scale in Figma like this. Use bold weight strictly for headers and regular for body text to guide the eye. And then let's go down here on the spacing and alignment issue. The about section is too dense. So the about section is too dense. The issue is the narrative. The narrative from 2 is a long center aligned implied column of text. This is hard to read and poor scannability. And here it goes back to give me a fix. Break this into a grid, place a photo of you, perhaps hiking or walking on the left and the bio text on the right. Bullet points for your skills, Uganda and where you are and what you're doing, and make it digestible. Here, why client trust me grid, it says you have 6 strong points. If these are listed vertically, they look like a terms of service document. Fix, use a 3x2 grid, I think like bento cards in this case. Create a card component for each point. And then here it says length, observation, ensure your body text paragraphs do not span more than 60 to 75 characters per line. Anything wider fatigues the reader's eye. Now, this is good feedback that Gemini is actually giving me. Now, let's go on the other issue. Number 3, user flow and conversion. Call to action, placement. Good, you have a book appointment repeated, which is excellent practice. Improvement, ensure the button style is consistent. It should be the same color. For example, that one and that one, every time it appears so that the user learns to recognize it as the interaction point. Trust signals, issue. The stats, 10 years plus 20, 200 plus websites are powerful, but they are buried. Fix, create a dedicated trust bar. Immediately after the hero section, use the large bold numbers, this with a small labels underneath. This immediately validates you before they read the long bio. Okay, so what they are saying is that I should get these statistics, these numbers here, and put them right just after the first hero section. That is around here. And then here it goes back and guides me through what I can do in Figma to fix the file. But I feel like I want to give Gemini some more work to do. And this is to ask it to actually implement what it just suggested. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back here to my Gemini. But before we go into Gemini, let's come back here to ChatGPT. So I've told now ChatGPT to give me a prompt to ask Gemini to implement the suggestions. And this is what it says. Based on the feedback you just gave me, please apply all the recommended improvements directly to my Figma file. create an updated layout that indicates the corrected spacing, improved visual hierarchy, refined typography, cleaner alignment, and any structure or UX changes you suggested. Present the improved design as a redesigned mockup of frame concept I can recreate in Figma, exact specification for each change, font sizes, weights, padding, margins, colors, grid system, layout measurements, a short explanation of why each change improves the user experience. And here it says copy and paste Figma instructions or component guidelines I can use to implement the updated design step by step. Make sure the new version stays consistent with the brand style and original goals page. Now, I may not need entirely this prompt to add it in Gemini, but then it gives you a sense of what kind of instructions you can actually give to Gemini to make the changes that you want. Like, it has to be descriptive, it has to add all the details of what kind of changes you want Gemini to do, and then that means you can be assured that you can get better results. Now, back into Gemini, I'm going to just now use a different trick, but within the same chat page. How do you call this? Is it chat a thread? Because okay, this is called a new chat. Okay, the same chat thread. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on tools and I'm going to say right over here, click on canvas. Now I've selected canvas and I'm going to add this prompt, but I'm going to edit it a little bit. I'm going to delete this, copy and paste Figma instructions or component guidelines I can use to implement. I don't need this. Now I'm going to use canvas to implement the suggestions that Gemini suggested based on the corrections that it made on my mockups that I shared. Now, still using the thinking model that comes in 3 Pro of Gemini, I'm going to say submit and let's see what magic Gemini does right now. And as we see right over here, the Gemini canvas is regenerating the page or the mockup in this case that is interactive. And right over here, it has already generated the HTML and soon it's going to give me a preview so that we can look at this together. Oh, well, here comes in the results. So far, so good. This is what Canvas from Gemini is able to create. And let's just go and have a preview in a larger screen. So I'm going to say, copy this link right over here. It's already copied. Come in a new tab and I'll open it up. So based on the suggestion that it made, here is the mockup. So I just scroll down below. Interesting. Added even logos right over here. Added like my story. Beautiful. And also linked also to my YouTube channel. Not really linking, but added a bento grid. It's getting all this information right from my PDF or the PDF that I shared. And here it goes. Add some cards and adds the features. Can I just open this side by side so that you guys can see? Okay, I will just make this a bit smaller. So this is what happens. So we have the navigation, home, about, testimonial services. I think here it messed up. It didn't bring up the about, testimonial and services and FAQ section, but it added here a call to action in the navigation, or maybe that's one of the best practices as a senior UI UX designer. And here in the hero section, it added, this little nice notification here, available for project, web design and educator. And here it summarizes, a little bit what I do and stuff like that. Hey, I am Hamza. I combine strategy, design, and WordPress expertise to build high-performant websites for businesses. Here it was like more of like a document style. And here it kind of made it look much better. Now here there is no image, but I'm going to show you in a while what we can do. But you can see we have a video preview. And when you hover on it, you see it kind of makes that effect and added this little nice, text right over here. And here it brought the stats that is suggested that could be up here in the hero section. The more things I love here are these two buttons. They stand out here. It says, see my work, start your project, or like for them to make an appointment or something like that. Compared to this totally different. This is more like a document kind of thing. And here you see there is this call to action. And here it just brought it up right here and also included it right over here. And yeah, so let's go down here. In numbers, it brought these numbers over here, the track record, and now it's right over here. Let's go down. Now it brings brands or technologies that I work with, powering your web presence with WordPress, Spectra, Figma, SEO, and JavaScript. Yeah, it messed up the logos, like the one for Spectra. It put up an Elementor logo, and for WordPress, it's good. Figma, it's good. JavaScript is good. Yeah, and SEO, I think here it meant Google. This is good. And then now it comes here about my story. Now it brings everything that I wrote up here, then brings it down here into a bento grid. I love this. And yeah, adds the languages. And like I've told you already, that it kind of read through everything here in the PDF and summarized it right over here. Adds another section with very nice looking cards with this kind of hover effect. And here it says more than just web design. So from this, Canvas from Gemini gave me this. So custom design, WordPress expert, and clear communication, education first, long-term support, culturally aware. You see that it included all the information that I added here, but made it look even more nice. And all this, by the way, was mentioned in that feedback that it gave me from the PDF. There is a 5-step workflow. I don't see it that it added it here. It didn't add that here, but maybe we can ask it to add the 5-step workflow later on. But now let's go here, the hourly pricing. I see we also missed the testimonials. And then here we missed the FAQs, and we also miss, FAQs, testimonials, and the workflow. I don't know what you guys are thinking. But what I can say is that, yes, I'm a bit impressed by how consistent in the design it has been, and the contrast and fonting and, the colors. And did you see that we have a transparent sticky header right here at the top? Now I'm going to come back here to Gemini and I'm going to ask it why it did not. So I just asked it, why didn't you add my process steps, testimonials, and FAQs? And here it says, I apologize for the oversight. You're absolutely right. A complete redesign must include the process, testimonials, and FAQ to be fully functional. I've updated the design to include the missing sections. Now we have a fully updated redesign with the changes that we requested. Let's just go down here and see what it says. Well, the 5-step workflow is here. Let me refresh here and we see if we get that preview again here. Not, I think I have to copy a link once again. Here to Gemini, I'm going to say share. Link copied, and come back here. Okay, so yeah, our process steps are here. I'm going to come back here, to look and compare back with our original PDF. So the 5 simple process workflow, here it says a simple 5-step workflow. And it brings again this text right over here. Every project is tailored to your goals, but the process stays consistent and transparent. So here it says consultation, planning, development, launch, and support. Consultation, planning, development, launch, and support. This is wholesome. Now, let's go down and see if it added the testimonials. Yes, here are the testimonials. It also said it added a logo, because here I say, let me see, updated, created under testimonials. Here it says created trust cards with Google reviews branding to reinforce authenticity. But I don't see any Google branding here. Well, it matches the design and flow from the sections above, and I like that. And well, the fact that it also kind of integrated it fully well into the already existing page, that is also a plus for Gemini 3 Pro. Now let's go and see what else they do with the FAQ sections. So FAQ, wow. Let me see when I click here, how much do you charge for a website? I charge an hourly rate of 70 euros since every project is unique. And you see, it kind of picked up the text here and it is showing up here. Beautiful. It actually added the three FAQs that I earlier added over here, and it is also showing right over here. Okay, now let's go and see one more feature that I love about Gemini 3 Pro. So inside our canvas here, we can talk to Gemini and say, for example, if I want to make a change to only this section here, I can come here and say, select a task, and I'm going to select this section here, and I'm going to say, ask Gemini, I'm going to say, add an image of me in this section instead of a video thumbnail. Let me see what it's going to do. I didn't give it any image, but let me see what it's going to work with. Nothing. Okay, it's moving on the other part of the page. Can I go and preview how that is? I wouldn't like it to just go below down here. I hope it can still fit. Of course, that we can fix in Figma or in our design process, but let me just once again share, get the link right over here, and yeah, it shouldn't be down here, but I think you also get the idea that it can also make such changes. And if you don't like those changes, you can as well come over here and say, revert to previous version, and we are back to this. Now we can also ask it to change other things on the page. For example, if I come over here and say, hey, this is not a Spectra logo, you can just remove it and leave the word Spectra, because Spectra as a word is enough. So I'll say, this is not the Spectra logo, just leave the word Spectra. Let's see what it does in this case, because what it was trying to do was to have all companies or softwares that I work with have kind of like a logo, but it misplaced the logo, and see what just happened. Spectra without a logo. Yeah, the other thing is I would ask it to change the logo right over here. So I'm going to come here and say here, I'll say use my logo section. And here I'm going to upload my logo. So I come here to the file. I'll bring my PNG logo, add it over there. And here I will say enter. So wait, it's not actually using the logo right now. Stop. I'm going to come back here. Use this as my logo in the logo section. Okay, so let's see if it will now manage to figure out where the logo section is and also add this logo into that section. The other thing I want to mention is that it kind of takes some time from the moment you enter the prompt. It takes about 1 or 2 minutes in trying to think and then making the adjustments and then showing up, the changes on the screen. And so you must be a little bit patient. Now, Let me see what here it says. I have updated the website to include your new logo in both the navigation and the navigation bar and the footer. But here it doesn't look like anything is appearing. Okay, so let me see. Is it just a preview error? Nothing actually shows up here. So it looks like I'll just go back to the previous version. So instead of replacing the logo, it just kind of got lost somewhere and it couldn't give me the changes that I wanted. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that you can also make changes like in the header. So for example, here I will say add a language switcher here, add a language switcher here with EN and DE, and also add a dark and light mode. Let's wait to see how it adds these modes and functionality. Okay, so let's see what changes have come through right now. All right, so it seems like it has created the dark and light version. So I'm going to come over here, copy a live link. So every time it generates, it creates another live link for you to preview. I don't know why that is the case, but yeah, for some reason it does that. Looks like here my logo is trying to show up, but it can't really show up for some reason, but it's there. Here it looks like they added the language switcher. So English and German, and let me just go to the German version. Yeah, it's there, but not really there. So I can't see any German text right here. But I think that is something, yeah, I can fix on the other end once I start adding the content. But let's look at the light version. So because right now we are in the dark version, and boom, there we go. We have a light version of our website by simply prompting AI or Canvas, in this case from Gemini 3 Pro. All right, so I just want to hear what your opinions are and what your thoughts are now that you've seen how I've improved my doc style layout that I created in Figma to this layout that I just created with Canva from Gemini 3 Pro. Would you use it to improve your own designs? Are there any circumstances where you would find yourself improving your web pages using AI right now? Because hey, what I'm seeing here is way miles away from what I provided or from what I had earlier created in Figma. I'm a bit tempted to recreate this page in WordPress, either with Spectra or with Elementor, so you guys would tell me what you think. If you want to see me create this exact page in Elementor or using Spectra, let me know down in the comments of this video. What I really want to tell you is that ChatGPT subscription is about 20 euros per month. And with Google AI Pro, I'm paying also $20 a month. And with that, I'm getting Gemini Pro also with a thinking feature and Canvas, which I can use to create all this stuff. And I can use Gemini across the Google suite of services. I can use it in Gmail, I can use it in Docs. And on top of that, I get up to 2 terabytes of Google Drive storage. And that is one of the reasons I had to cancel my ChatGPT subscription, because there is no anywhere close the value I'm getting from my Google One subscription that I will get that value if I subscribe to ChatGPT Pro. So if you want to try this out, you have to have Gemini Pro. And to have Gemini Pro, you have to have the Google One subscription. In this case, it's Google AI Pro subscription. So if you want to see a follow-up video on this video to try to rebuild this page in WordPress using Elementor or Spectra, let me know down in the comments of this video. If you're new here, make sure that you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a good time and goodbye.